Kia ora whānau. I just need to start this episode off with a major and intense trigger warning. We talk about a lot of very heavy things in this episode, including rape, the process of abortion, and sexual abuse. Thank you much.
Welcome to Season 2
of the Coco Lesa Podcast.
It's real hip-hop music from the soul, y'all.
From the soul. It always start with loving, don't it? That we always end up fighting, but we could fall off long as we get back to riding, homie. You the only one I see.
What's going on, family?
Welcome back.
No, welcome back you. Welcome back. They've been here. We're the ones that have been going. Please allow me to say these little girls are the worst. Okay?
Please excuse their noise in the background.
As she slaps my back. So, we went on hiatus for a while. A bunch of our family and community members know we've been going through a ton personally, which makes it a little hard to produce content, obviously. But we appreciate you guys sticking around and being here.
For sure.
How many people have come forward and let us know that they're fans of the show and have been fans of the show for ages. We are currently in the process of transitioning back home to Aotearoa, thanks to the love, support, and help of a lot of people. So thank you to all of you guys who are listeners and people who helped with the Give a Little. We really appreciate everybody and just wanted to add that thank you at the start of the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it a lot.
A lot. Because it's a big thing. It was a big thing for us to put ourselves out there. Mm-hmm. But we received a lot of love and response, and we really...
Yeah, it's just been overwhelming.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it.
We do, for sure. And on that note, part of the reason why we're fighting so hard to get home as soon as possible is because we are getting ready to give birth.
Yeah, to have our third child.
Our third child. We need to slow down. We need to stop. Anyway,
listen.
But a big topic right now that we really felt the need to speak on and that we had to speak to is abortion. And it's one... Go ahead.
Yeah, no, well... Just like being in America and being pregnant in America has highlighted so many healthcare issues. Like, we really are privileged. I wouldn't, you always used to say, New Zealand is quite privileged because you grew up here in America.
I tell you all the time, you're spoiled, and you don't understand that you're spoiled.
Yeah, but
you think that. Well, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you think everybody's like should have these things and is entitled to these things, and while you're right,
it's like
it's just not the case.
Should be right. So now that I've had 2 pregnancies in New Zealand, and those were essentially fully funded. Like we didn't have to pay. The only thing we had to pay was like our ambulance fees, and that's it. Here in America, everything is you need and it's not like little money. It's like $100
to even visit the emergency room in America. Right, in most states, it's $300. Okay, but even I'm telling you, they charge and monetize every aspect of your pregnancy, even to the point where you holding your baby, there's literally a $42 charge in a lot of hospitals for skin to skin. And this is not a nurse holding your baby or someone else holding your baby.
This is you holding your own freaking baby.
They're charging you to hold your baby. And so again, just starting off, this is us talking about a lot of the realizations that you've had in terms of healthcare costs and what people go through with giving birth in America, right?
Like when we lived in New Zealand, and you hear like so many horror stories about healthcare here.
It's not real.
It's not real for me. It's like, it's like enraging, but when you get here, it's like, and you experience it, it's really like,
it's different when you haven't had the experience, and then when you get, it's scary. Because it's a real thing. And that's why I tell you all the time, you think that I'm being like crazy. I'm like, cut your shit. Like, you would cut that shit out. Like, be thankful that we have this. You know what I mean? All we had to do was buy our own washcloths because we're in the birthing center. And you're like, well, why don't they have this? And why don't they have that? I'm like, it's a free facility, dog. You need to appreciate this meal and relax yourself. Meanwhile, we're getting in trouble because she's like bringing her lunch back to the room to like save me an ice cream. And the nurses are walking in like, why are you eating your wife's ice cream? And I'm like, well, what happened was the McDonald's is all the way down the road. But
so yeah, I just wanted to start off like that. Like healthcare here is a big issue,
right.
And I think abortion
for a lot of reasons. So
under
the way that we're going to come at this is we're going to hit it from different levels. We're not going to jump around, right? So I think the first place for us to start, which is the biggest and makes the least amount of sense to me, is the religious angle, because that's where a lot of people come from when they're anti-abortion, right? But then the second aspect is the pro-lifers and people who think it's wrong to steal a life even outside of religious reasons, right? Then I think we can jump into what we've already started with, which is the monetary aspect. And then we can figure out a recap and close from there, right? So my issue with religion, period, much less on the abortion topic, is if we're worshiping our own faith and practicing our own faith and it only applies to us, we're Gucci. I'm good with that. My main issue with mass religion is so many people that practice mass religion, especially Christianity and Christians more than anyone, feel the need to force their views and their beliefs on other people. And when other people have to live by your views and your standards, then it's a problem, especially when it endangers someone else's life. And this is definitely that topic. There are people that need to have abortions because going to term would kill them.
Yeah, like it's literally not safe for some women to be to go full-term pregnancy, and they
don't take account for that. There's so many different instances. A lot that we've been talking about, or one of the big issues that we've been talking about, which hits the legal aspect as well, is people have been raped. Okay? And so something that frustrated me last week was I was in the car with a young lady. She was my Uber driver. And she and I ended up getting onto a topic, and I was saying it's crazy that they've made abortion illegal. And she said, "What do you think about that?" And I said, "I think I don't have an opinion on it because I don't have a womb." And she laughed and she thought it was funny, but I was being serious. And she said, "No, but really, what do you think?" And I said, "I'm being serious with you. As a man who does not have a womb and does not have the ability to give birth, I think it's none of my fucking business. Except where I have agency, I have a responsibility to make room for women and people who do have an opinion on it to be vocalized and to be heard." And then we went into it, and she had some pretty ignorant views, but it was partially because she was young and partially because of her privilege being a Caucasian woman. And she was like, if you're not responsible enough to use protection, then you deserve to have a baby, which is a super ignorant view, because the avenue that we had to take from there was all of the different situations in which people get pregnant, not just consensual sex. And even from there, that's a really stupid, ignorant view, because if you're not responsible enough, let's say you're one of that minority that got pregnant just because you weren't responsible enough to use protection, how are you responsible enough to be responsible for a life?
Yeah.
How is that the better option? Some of the numbers that I want to pull up as we go through this is that I found out something that was crazy recently, and it talks on this topic, right? And the stat that I found out, 87%. So we're talking about in America, and America's a big country with a large population, right? 87% of people who end up in prisons and long-term career criminals come from the foster care system.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
No, go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
But, as someone who has a sister, like who's,
But that's nuts to me, right? And that's insane on a lot of levels, because that means that the foster care system is in almost no way, shape, or form really built or equipped to help people live normal, functional lives. And it means that there's also not enough people out there that want to take these children in.
And that's not just in America. That can also be said for New Zealand also.
We can have Jennifer talk to us about SIFs. So and some of my students talk to us about Ora Tamariki and all of Oranga Tamariki and all of the issues that we have with the foster care system in Aotearoa and how it perpetuates people into homelessness and prison culture and sexual abuse and all other types of mental and emotional issues. And so if we have all of these babies who are already existing in the world and undesired and unsafe and don't have homes and being caught up and stuck and processed as a part of the system, how can you condemn someone who's responsible enough to not bring a child in the world that they're not willing, capable, or equipped to take care of?
Yeah. I think I just want to touch back on what you were talking about all the ways in which you can be pregnant that aren't, so essentially like rape, incest, those
Go ahead. That's one that we really need to speak on, because we have a large amount of sexual abuse from family members in our Pacifica communities.
So just to put information out there in regards to what they passed in Alabama recently, makes it illegal basically in every instance.
It doesn't matter,
even if it's incest or rape.
Even if you are 11 years old and become pregnant at the result of rape,
and doctors who perform these procedures
will go to jail.
Yeah. So just in terms of facts for America, that is, if you guys were interested and wondering why abortion has come into the spotlight of late. Well, so essentially abortion is legal under Roe vs. Wade, the 1973 Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion in all 50 states. However, this year we see a series of strict anti-abortion bills that have been passed pretty much with the intention to reshape women's access to abortion procedures, essentially. And one of the most restrictive abortion law in the country has come through Alabama. So the ban makes abortion illegal in virtually all cases, including rape and incest. And like we just said, doctors can go to jail for life in prison for performing these abortion procedures, which is ridiculous because will get you more time in prison than an actual rapist.
So you get more time in prison for treating someone for an abortion than an actual rapist. Abortion is more strictly regulated in America than gun laws, which is something that people have also been talking about. Another aspect to really give you the meat and potatoes of this and make it a bit more understandable, right? Making abortions illegal doesn't stop abortions, and that's one of the main things that we really need to discuss in this, right? Making abortions illegal does not stop abortions. What it does is forces women who need abortions for the sake of their lives to go other places to get them, places that are unsafe, unsanitary. And so they make a joke that's not a joke and is very sad and is very dangerous about the wire hanger, okay? Because the way that they used to do abortions for people who didn't have money, and the way they do still do abortions in some low communities, is that they get wire hangers and they bend them to a certain shape.
We're gonna put trigger warnings.
Sorry.
Warnings. In the beginning of
they do scrapings, and it kills women and it kills fetuses. Or you go places in India and other countries where they give women herbs to force and induce abortions and chemicals, okay? And those are unsafe as well. And so by making it illegal, again, you're not stopping it. You're making it unsafe and raising the mortality rate of women who have no other choice.
And what it essentially does, these laws that is, like you said, it puts pressure on low income, like these poorer areas, which are essentially predominantly black and brown communities.
Right, and they're criminalizing this across the board because white people or people of better income can afford to fly somewhere else or go somewhere else where they have the option to get an abortion safely. But low income people, again in black and brown communities, don't have that option, right? So the first one that we just started out with was, again, the different ways that you can become pregnant, which is something a lot of people don't think into, right? And the restrictiveness of that. And again, just from the religious aspect, it's okay to believe what you believe until your beliefs harm other people, right?
Like the whole Falau situation.
Right, because the thing that we disregard and forget a lot when people say things like, oh, it's just words, these are just my views, that's a false equivalency. It's a false statement, because there are a lot of people in this world who are willing to kill behind words, who are willing to kill behind lives and views, especially when we bring this back to the LGBTQ conversation and community. And so sorry for getting graphic on it, because I know that might have been crazy for some people. I know I was just like stating the facts, but again, there are people who are willing to kill behind words and beliefs and religious views. So when your views and your faith puts other people in danger, it has to be an issue. And if you are, so to be Christian is to be Christ-like, okay? And to be Christ-like is to live with empathy. How is there empathy for... I just actually reposted something on Twitter, which is it's a video of George Carlin, who's a comedian, telling jokes from the early 90s. And what he said then, early 90s, late 80s, is still very true now, and it's sad. He said pro-lifers are very protective of fetuses, and they're pro-life until a baby is born, and then they're anti-everything. They're anti-neonatal care, you know what I mean? They're anti-preschool, all of this education and funding that's needed to take care of lives, and then they stop caring about you until you're military age when it comes to conservatives. New York City has one of the, not even just all of America, but New York City has one of the largest child homelessness rates in the entire world. And this is not a third world nation. This is a superpower. Okay? For all of the people who are pro-life, and there are so many children that die, even in Aotearoa, on a regular basis from domestic violence and home abuse. I can tell you literal cases in America where there are people who... There's a woman who's in jail right now because she was a mother and she had a 6-month-old baby, and she was angry and drunk at her boyfriend, and she beat him with their baby, and the baby died. And these are the children that are ending up in these situations that the pro-lifers don't think about or care about. So as a parent who loves their children, it's an issue for me when people who don't have children aren't going to see the problem through until after the children are born, because we've already discussed what a failure the foster system is, speak on abortion and how it's wrong for people to get abortions when you don't care about the life after it's born.
Yeah.
The other aspect, if you want to jump into it and you're ready, is the monetary aspect. We literally, and not even to exaggerate, but we literally, because we cannot financially handle the burden of giving birth here and taking care of our family at the same time, because it would cost us $28,000.
Possibly even more to give birth in a hospital here, on top of us paying rent and food and all the other things. We've had one ultrasound this entire pregnancy as a result of how expensive it is, and that was $130 out of pocket, and we had to visit a doctor to get the referral
beforehand. And the only reason the referral only cost us $50 is because I'm friends with the doctor and his family that we went to. If we would have went to other locations, they were willing to charge us as much as minimum $120 just to see the doctor, to maybe get a referral, is what they told me. So that's $120 to maybe get a referral, okay, and then another $130 to get an ultrasound.
Something I learned was that one of the leading reasons for why Americans declare bankruptcy is because of medical debt, medical bills, medical debt.
Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States of America, okay? And his son's medical bills were so intense that he was going to sell his house to pay for his son's medical bills. And Barack Obama had to give him money so he wouldn't have to sell his house. The president and the vice president. That's not fucking fiction. Yeah. That's not speculation. That's fact.
Is it that like the vice fucking president
at home in Aotearoa
cannot afford
healthcare? At home in Aotearoa, we pay $25, maybe $30 for formula, right?
Yeah.
For the most expensive is like $27, and that's the good quality formula. Here, okay, for the lowest level of formula, it's a minimum of $30. That's the minimum for reasonable quality. For good quality formula, we have to pay upwards of $40 for formula that lasts us a week for our small baby. So if you can't afford formula, which is $40, which is half of some people's groceries right there, how can you afford diapers and childcare and hospital visits? I'm so thankful that we were home and in Aotearoa for Muhukia's whole first year of life, because she was sick all the time and we were at the doctor's office all the time. I'm telling you, as a person that's paid copays, every time you visit the doctor in America, you pay a copay if you have healthcare insurance. When I was single, my copay used to be $50 a doctor's visit. Do you know how in debt we would have been her first year of life if we had to pay $50 every time we had to take her to the doctor?
Yeah. And it's like, and I'm really thankful it wasn't like, this is just like little things. Cold shit.
It wasn't anything major like surgery or anything like that.
So I can just like imagine how rough it can be for families who have babies with a lot more difficulties, like maybe heart defects.
Of course, my sister can tell you, my sister Carla, because when my nephew was born, I still remember one of his stuffed bears that's still in the family to this day, we got at the hospital. When he was born, his intestines were twisted. And he wasn't even a year. He was barely 6 months. And we had to have surgery for them to operate on his intestines because he had a hernia that could have killed him as a baby and done him permanent damage. And we got the bear in that instance. That cost tons of money. And that was with insurance.
I mean,
so again, when pro-lifers who don't have kids or who have suitable living situations and make a great income speak on these situations for people who can barely afford to take care of themselves, much less take care of a child, it's ignorant, it's selfish, and it's life endangering, literally.
Yeah, I think this whole abortion mess that is America right now. Not even America, but like...
It's not just America.
Yeah, I know, but...
We have a lot of places in...
But what I was saying is like... These... Are we surprised that these states that have passed these laws are from the South?
We have to speak on the big issue there because not everybody understands what it means to be a southern state and how the South plays into that. But the better way to say that, to make that more understandable to everybody, is that these are conservatives. And that's the same reason that we're facing a lot of these issues in Pacifica and the Kingdom of Tonga and stuff like that, because these are places where God is more important than anything. And what people think of you and your community and your family is more important than your actual health and safety.
Oh my god, I saw this one Twitter video of a Missouri GOP lawmaker, I think it was Republican, and he said he was justifying the abortion ban.
He said a lot of the rapes are consensual or willing. Rape. So, but even... We've talked about this before. A lot of times, even still now, today in small villages, when you get raped, it's not the man's fault who raped you.
Yeah.
It's your fault for getting raped. What were you wearing? What were you doing to make him want you? He has a wife and a family, so you must be at fault for...
there are definitely a lot of things in our Pacific community that needs to change.
And this is not to slander us, but this is to make it understandable in a way that spreads across our communities. Because America, like we just said for you, is not real to a lot of people who have never been here and don't understand the difference in southern states. So we need to discuss on a home level how this affects us, because it still does. Even in Aotearoa, we still have anti-abortion laws.
Yep. So I'll just run the information for New Zealand. So in New Zealand, essentially, it's legal to have an abortion if 2 certifying doctors agree that continuing the pregnancy would result in serious danger to a woman's mental or physical health. The Crimes Act determines the grounds for an abortion. So that's one thing that I think a lot of people in New Zealand are looking to change. And a lot of people don't want to change as well in New Zealand. The fact that abortion comes under the Crimes Act, pretty much. And the grounds, listen, this got me fucked up. The grounds under 20 weeks, so you can have an abortion under 20 weeks under these grounds, right? Serious danger to life, serious danger to physical health, serious danger to mental health, any form of incest or sexual relations with a guardian, mental subnormality, or fetal abnormality.
So basically, if you're having a child that has mental health defects, like you're having a child with Down syndrome or something like that.
Yeah. But this is what had me really, like, not confused, but like enraged.
Go ahead.
Because like we all yah-yahing about America, meanwhile in New Zealand, this shit is still.
Which is why I'm taking it back to us.
Yeah. So. Other factors which are not grounds for an abortion, but may be taken into account, is extremes of age or rape. So sexual violation, rape.
There was just a video on the TL of a little girl who was 3 years old and got raped by a 20-year-old.
Okay, we definitely putting trigger warnings.
Sorry, yeah, we are. Sorry.
So rape, like, this is New Zealand. This is Aotearoa. This is a place that we think is progressive, and meanwhile, you can't have an abortion.
There are a lot of places in America where your rapist can sue you for rights to the child. So not only are they forcing people who've been raped to go to term and give birth, then after you have this child, if you do want to care for the child, your rapist can actually get rights to raise your child or take your child from you.
Yeah, that shit is so crazy.
So this when people argue and they get passionate with half the information or no information, it becomes dangerous because they don't understand how they're literally and actually putting people's lives at danger.
So just bringing it back to the Pacific and how, because like we can see a lot of America because that's what's prevalent in the news today, but we also have a lot of issues in our own countries that need to be addressed, like we said. Just a lot of stigmas around just sex in general, like which
create these situations and again endanger lives.
Like I think one thing that stuck in my mind was 2 years ago. There was one thing that stuck in my mind was that in New Zealand, in Mangere, I'll say, 2 years ago, there was a child, a baby that was found in a park. It was wrapped in a shirt that said Samoan culture, pride and joy. And it really hit me, like, there's a lot of issues that we need to address within our own community regarding sex and sex before like not just sex before marriage, but being pregnant before marriage, because this was likely a hidden pregnancy where she concealed the pregnancy, I don't know, maybe out of shame, fear, such like that. But these are, things that we kind of need to address.
Okay, and so to start to round this out, we want to move and transition into the laws on abortion in the Pacific and how they affect us at home.
So pretty much abortion in Samoa is only legal if it will save like the mother's life or preserve her physical or mental health.
So she can have more babies, but go ahead.
So, it's kind of alright. It's kind of, but Also in Samoa, if abortion is performed on a woman for any other reason, or if a woman performs a self-induced abortion, that woman can be subject to 7 years in prison. So this is like something I got this from this was stats pulled up from 2014. So I'm not sure how much
it's improved.
It's improved, or maybe it's gone
backwards. Yeah.
Because I know, like, I think last year the Prime Minister pretty much shut down all talks of, like, progressing in terms of abortion, like, rights for women, reproductive rights for women. And
that's not really something. Anyway, I'm gonna leave my hot takes to myself, and I'll stick to my communities. But go ahead.
All right, and talking about your community.
Go ahead, Tonga.
Yeah, all right, Tonga. So, abortion in Tonga is severely restricted by criminal law. Nearly all abortions are illegal. Abortions, so unless medical authorities cite preservation of maternal health, with up to 3 years imprisonment for any woman who induces an abortion, and up to 7 years imprisonment for anyone with intent to procure a miscarriage, via drugs or narcotics and things like that.
The thing that you have to understand in Tonga, right? And like we have to have big ass signs for people to drive safely, so that we don't kill people when we drive, because so much of our traffic is foot traffic. Mm-hmm. Right? I say that to say this. A lot of things in Tonga, even though they've changed and upgraded, so much of our community, so much of our island is still the same as it was so many years ago.
Yeah.
It's very hard to progress your thinking in that environment, especially when Tonga is God's country, you know what I mean? Like, we are people of faith, and Christianity is very heavy,
just like Samoa.
And that creates a community where it's not really okay to look at these things from an academic aspect. Is it okay for a woman to get an abortion for these reasons? If it's wrong in God's eyes, then it's wrong.
I think something that we need to, like, remove ourselves from is that I think a lot of what dictates Samoans, like traditional Samoans and their morals, is Christianity. So they align their morals with what it says in the Bible, what's going on. And I think we need to remove ourselves from that, because morals alone...
And even the people who won't stop reading the interpretation strictly to suit your views. Mm-hmm. But again, that's a bigger conversation. Is there anything that we didn't hit? We talked about the monetary aspect. We talked about the religious aspect. Okay? We talked about the health aspect, about how it's not safe. But I think, just to recap...
Just
one.
I think just to
go ahead.
I think especially for, like, women of color and black and brown communities, if we, like, want to see change for ourselves, like, in these ways, we need to see ourselves in government positions. Yes. Because what we have now is white men making...
Listen, there are a lot of white women too who make...
Yeah, white women also. So
the representation doesn't really suit or protect or cover our needs or circumstances or understanding.
So especially when it comes time to vote next year for New Zealand,
because Labour is getting ready to lose. The Greens are getting ready to lose in a major way, and it's already started. National is moving back into a position of power, and that is not our representation, and it has never been.
So yeah, when it comes to election, like we see even now in Australia, just the shit show that's going on over there. But when it comes to our elections next year, we really need these issues. Like, we need to remember these kind of things.
But the thing is also, we talk about this on a political level, but a lot of us, this is a very combative issue in our own homes, amongst our own families.
Yeah.
How many people from our generation can even speak to our parents about this? And a lot of our parents don't get this issue until they lose a child or a grandchild. A lot of people from our parents...
And even then, it's kind of like an ignored thing.
A lot of people from our parents' generations are the ones that we were just talking about that will condemn you for getting raped opposed to your rapist, especially if it happens in the family. So yes, this is something we need to look at politically, but this is something we need to fight for in our own homes to have better understanding.
Essentially on every level, from family, communities, to your local.
And as a man who has very little, there's not a lot that I should be having to speak. So it's a double-edged sword, because as a man and a protector of our community and our women and our people, I have a responsibility to speak on these issues, to protect the women that I love and care for in our culture.
Then, that's a bit.
But even then, there's a lot of stepping back I need to do, because it's not my body, and so I have no right to speak on these things. And so it's weird, because I have to protect, but I also have to stay away from and make sure there's agency for you and other women that we love and care about to speak on these things. And so what really needs to happen is education, which is what we're trying to do with this episode.
Yeah.
So it's a big topic. There's a lot more to say on it, but I think for us...
There is a lot more. We'll probably do another episode on it.
I can see it happening. But this is us doing our best introduction into helping people understand current affairs and what's going on right now, and the different angles
and
of
all the
abortion.
ways it can affect you personally.
Right?
Because America seems like a faraway place that's like, oh, this is happening over there.
And even for women, even for people that are not men, if you don't have children, if you've never had children, if you don't want children, this is an issue that is not right for you to speak on. If you don't come from a place of not being able to afford being able to care for your children, it's a rough issue for you to speak on. If you've grown up in a safe home and you've never had to worry about being sexually abused, it's a rough issue for you to speak on. If you've never been raped, it's a rough issue for you to speak on. And so what we're asking for is for more understanding for people out there who aren't just sexually even irresponsible, and even for them, because
there's ways you can support.
And if you feel that passionately about pro-life, adopt a fucking kid, okay? And help us make changes to well, she doesn't agree with that.
Don't adopt a kid, because you're just gonna put your views
indoctrinate them. But you know what I mean. But there are other things that you can do instead of forcing someone to have a child. And that's kind of where we stand on the issue for now. You have anything you want to add to that?
If there's any comments you guys want to leave,
let us know. Tweet. Not you, them. So tweet us. You guys know how to reach us on Twitter at Cocolesa. We're definitely accessible on IG. And you can always get in contact with us via email. You can check out our website, the HOH Collective. And that's it for now. We will be pumping out more episodes now and in the interim, especially when we get back home. So thank you guys. We love you.
Listening.
Thank you for supporting us. We appreciate you. Bye.
See you later.